Across the Xieng Khouang Plateau in northern Laos, more than 2,100 massive stone vessels lie scattered across the ridges. These individual jars reach 3 meters in height and can weigh as much as 14 tons. While the jars were carved from materials like sandstone and granite, the nearest quarries are 8 kilometers away. Moving these 14-ton megaliths across this rugged terrain without the wheel is a logistical puzzle that remains unsolved. We know the effort began thousands of years ago. Dating tests on the soil beneath the stones show they were placed here between 1240 and 660 BC. This level of engineering proves the existence of a highly organized society, one that operated for centuries before vanishing entirely from the historical record. Without written records or hard archaeological data, local oral traditions spent centuries attempting to explain the landscape. Hmong and Khmu legends tell of a race of giants led by King Khun Chung. After a great military victory, the king supposedly ordered the creation of these vessels to brew and store massive quantities of rice wine for his warriors. One vessel at Site 1 features a frogman carving, a figure with raised arms that mirrors prehistoric rock art in southern China. It is a rare, tangible clue, but it wasn't enough to solve the mystery. Because conflict in the region would soon halt scientific investigation, these myths became the primary way the world understood the plateau for nearly 100 years. In the 1930s, French researcher Madeleine Colani proposed a different theory. The jars weren't for wine, but were ritual vessels used for the dead. Colani's hypothesis sat largely untested for decades, as regional wars made the plateau too dangerous for further study. That changed in 2026, when an international team led by Nicholas Skopal began a new excavation at Site 75. Inside a vessel designated as Jar 1, they found the undisturbed remains of 37 individuals. These skeletons, belonging to both adults and children, were dated between the 9th and 13th centuries AD. This discovery provided the evidence needed to confirm Colani's theory, finally identifying the plain of jars as a massive prehistoric graveyard. The discovery supports a distilling burial theory. Bodies were first placed in temporary jars or cremation caves, allowing flesh to decompose and the soul to separate. Once distilled, the bones were moved into massive stone jars for final secondary burial to honor ancestors. However, this discovery revealed a paradox. While the bones date back to the medieval era, the stone jars themselves are up to 3,000 years old. This reveals a continuity of use, where different cultures repurposed the same stone megaliths for their sacred rituals over 2 millennia. But our ability to study that continuity has hit a lethal area. During the U.S. secret war between 1964 and 1973, Laos became the most heavily bombed country per capita in human history. Over 2 million tons of explosives were dropped across this plateau to disrupt North Vietnamese supply lines. Roughly 30% of the cluster bomb submunitions failed to detonate on impact, creating a hidden underground minefield. An estimated 80 million live bombies remain buried in the soil today. This layer of explosives has effectively frozen the plain of jars in time, weaponizing the ground against further archaeological discovery. Demining organizations like MAG and COPE work daily to clear the plateau, but the task is vast. For local farmers, the threat is constant. A single step through the tall grass can still result in a life-altering injury. Of the more than 120 documented jar sites, only 7 have been fully cleared of explosives. The 2026 identification of this civilization was drawn from a mere 5% sample size. The rest of the history remains held hostage by the bombs. It leaves us with a difficult choice. Is it right to risk human lives to uncover the secrets of the dead? Or should the plain of jars remain a dangerous sanctuary, protected by the weapons that were meant to destroy it?